Tier 1 People, Leaders in Fintech Executive Search. Hi, I'm Dexter Cousins, founder of Tier 1 People and host of Fintech Chatter podcast. Over the last 25 years, I've helped literally thousands of people in their careers to either find a job or make that next career move. I'm sharing all of my trade secrets and hacks to help you in your job search if you've just been impacted by the recent layoffs in fintech. In today's short video, I want to share with you my hacks on networking. This is a topic that's really dear to me. 7 years ago, pretty much to the day, I started Tier 1 People. I remember that very first day where I was massively daunted. I had nothing but a network, and I managed to build a successful multi-million-dollar business just through that network. To me, I fundamentally believe that your network is your net worth. And if you're actively on the job market right now, your network is going to be the fastest way for you to find your next gig. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I went through 7 years ago to help me get my first clients. I think it's really relevant to the job search, and a lot of these techniques I've shared with people over this last 7 years, and they've used it to maximize their job hunting. So the first thing that I want to share with you, what to do with your network. Back then, I had a black book, a LinkedIn, and I put that all onto an Excel spreadsheet. At the time, I think I had about 5,000 contacts, and it was pretty daunting to go out and reach out to all 5,000. I also didn't want to spam people, and I wanted it to be impactful. So I went through those 5,000 contacts and I put them into 3 tiers. Tier 1 people were people who I'd worked with in the past, who had been clients and who I felt might give me business in the future. If you're on the job hunt, then a Tier 1 contact is likely to be somebody who you've worked with previously and who you think might potentially hire you again. Next, I looked at my Tier 2 contacts. These were people that I had a relationship with, but perhaps hadn't done business with yet. Tier 3 was everybody else. And to be honest, the Tier 3 contacts I did nothing with. When I looked at the Tier 1 contacts, I had approximately 100 contacts. And so what I decided was to set myself a challenge to have 90 coffees in 90 days. So I set about the task of sending an email. And in that email, I put a simple message, which was, hey, I've just started a new business. And as somebody that I've worked with previously and has been a client in the past, I've got some new ideas that I think might benefit your business. I know you're the type of person who called bullshit on me, and I could really do with your advice. This simple email got 60 responses. And in the first 2 weeks, I did over 35 coffees. A week later, I was sending out the first invoice for the business, and that was rapidly followed where in the first 3 months, I generated more revenue than I was hoping I would generate in the first 12 months. Now, what about the Tier 2 contacts? Look, there was probably around about 500 of those people, and I began just a similar outreach program, which I did over the next 6 to 12 months. But the key here is that if you're looking for your next gig, is to focus on those Tier 1 contacts. When you approach a Tier 1 contact, they already know and trust you. So the likelihood is that if you ask them for a coffee or some advice, they'll say yes. Here's the caveat. If you reach out to that person asking for a job, then the likelihood of you getting a response is reduced by over 70%. Why is that? Well, here's the funny thing about human nature. We all want to help people, but when the request for help is something that we can't actually deliver on, then the natural thing for us to do is just to avoid it because we don't want to feel bad and we don't want to let the person down, so we just ignore it. So the secret to reaching out to your Tier 1 contacts is to have a request or ask for help that it's easy for them to say yes to and makes them feel bad to say no to. One of the best ways that I've found is simply to ask somebody's opinion. You don't even need to ask them for a coffee. Just ask them for 5 minutes where they could give their opinion and give you some advice. I've never known anybody turn away the opportunity to voice their opinion. So here's the second great thing about going through the tier 1 networks. They'll likely not only give you advice, but they'll meet up for a coffee or lunch. And when they give you that advice, they then feel obliged to follow that up with personal help. Let's say, for example, that one of your tier 1 contacts thinks that you should go and try a different industry. That person will then likely put you in contact with one of their tier 1 contacts who works in that industry. And what happens with tier 1 contacts is that through one meeting, you could easily get 5, 6, or 7 meetings with other tier 1 contacts and expand your network. The great thing about tier 1 contacts is that they're decision makers. These are people that if they've got a job or an opportunity, they can hire you. Whenever I see people going on a job hunting, I'm always amazed by how much time they spend with people who will never ever be able to give them a job. Now, whilst people might want to help, unfortunately, if they're not decision makers and they don't have the influence to give you a job, this is going to be time and energy that is misspent. You're much better off having 10 meetings with tier 1 contacts than 100 meetings with contacts who have no influence. The final part that I would suggest is make sure to follow up and keep a spreadsheet of all of the introductions that have been made. Just a simple thank you afterwards makes all of the difference and will encourage people to continue to make introductions. If you follow this process, you should find within 30 days you're having some real solid discussions about actual job opportunities. And who knows, you might even have 1 or 2 offers. Make sure you subscribe to this video for more tips on the job hunt. And until the next one, keep safe and good luck.